Hi, everyone. It's Brian Christopher from Banyan Hill here. Welcome to another edition of Market Insights. This week, I'm talking with Mike Carr, editor of Michael Carr's Precision Profits, Peak Velocity Trader, and the Weekly Options Alert. Mike, welcome. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
Now, Mike, if I asked you to give me a brief overview of your services, what would you say? How could you describe them to our listeners?
Well, peak velocity trader is based purely on momentum. And that's a momentum indicator I came up with that works pretty well. Precision profits adds a seasonality component to the momentum. So far, we're just using the efficient market hypothesis and exploiting the anomalies. And then weekly options alert just looks at what's moving right now. We look at the Dow, is it going up or down, and we try to trade that.
Okay. So basically, you help people identify option trades that could make them a lot of money.
Correct.
All right. Well, it's working because I've seen the positive testimonials flowing in. But for the next few minutes, let's talk a little bit about millennials. These are the folks who were born between the year 1977 and 2000, which I guess means they're between the ages of 19 and 42 today. And listeners, I think you'll find this interesting because when I was doing some research on it, I know I did. But before Mike and I chat, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can click on the subscribe button below and then click on the image of a bell to receive an alert whenever we post something. So, Mike, when I'm not being bombarded with stuff about 5G and pot or China and Iran, I'm bombarded with information and headlines about millennials, which are also known as Generation Y. We also have Gen X and Gen Z, and I'm not sure exactly what the next group's going to be because Gen AA doesn't sound so flattering, but I'm happy that you can actually shed some light on this. On August 5th, you wrote a Sovereign Investor Daily article about this, and it was entitled "Millennials Ruin Everything Except for Bull Markets." That's a great title. I'm wondering if you could tell me a little bit about the article.
Sure. So what I see is a lot of headlines like millennials ruin napkins and things like that. And it's old people complaining that millennials just buy paper towels and wipe their mouth with a paper towel instead of a more expensive napkin. So as I looked at it, what I realized is this is just a generational thing. Millennials aren't really ruining everything. They're just finding their own niches, and there's so many of them. They're going to reproduce that baby boom bull market that we had in the 1980s and 1990s.
Yeah, that's amazing. I was looking at some stats. I learned a couple in your article, and then also millennials make up 25% of the U.S. population. And actually, I saw this on a site. It was called millennialmarketing.com. So I don't know if these numbers are skewed, but they are. They're just big numbers. Millennials make up 21% of consumer discretionary purchases, and they're also 2.5 times more likely to be an early adopter of technology than other generations. Those stats seem to tell me that they're willing to spend money as well. They also love adventure and they love experiences, and they're aware that they have to spend money to get that, and they're willing to do so. So with that kind of as a background, are there particular sectors that you think are benefiting or will continue to benefit from the millennial generation?
Yeah, Brian, I think it's important to look back at the 80s where the baby boomers also enjoyed experiences. And a great example of an experience baby boomers loved was the disco. So they went to the discotheque, they did their dancing and stuff, they bought clothes for that. And then as they grew up and had kids, they stopped going to the disco and they focused on the necessities. And they still had their splurges. Now, we always think about tech stocks when we think about the stock market, but some baby boomer stocks that were really hot for a time were two of the best performers in the 90s were Monster Energy, at the time trading under the name Hansen Natural Soda. It was an early Whole Foods type of trade on soda. And the company Decker Outdoors that makes UGG shoes. So millennials are going to be no different. They're going to give up their experiences for little everyday splurges. And if I can just do one more example that might not make it through editing, so I'm alerting the editors right up front. As the boomers aged, one of the biggest stocks at the end of the 90s was Pfizer, the company which introduced Viagra and created a stock market bubble to treat the aging boomer diseases. So we need to watch these millennials as they go through their life cycle. What's going to be their energy drink, their Uggs, their Viagra? Those are going to be the hot investments of the next 20 years.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Look where you don't expect to look, I guess, is what you're saying. Because
exactly.
In your article, you also talk about the fact that real estate and, I guess, asset management or money management with respect to 401ks will also benefit as the with the 30 something / early 40 something millennials who are putting money away for the future.
You're correct. And if we look back again at history, we see that the late 80s, early 90s, there was a kind of real estate dip. There was a crash because the baby boomers weren't going to buy homes. They were too cool for that. They were going to live in the cities and they were going to have this yuppie lifestyle. And all of that changed. They moved out to the suburbs. We had the greatest property boom in history. And now we have even more households about to go through that cycle.
Yes. Hey, and we have our Total Wealth Symposium coming up in September in Amelia Island. Are you going to be speaking on this a little bit more?
I'm going to be looking a little bit deeper at history. We're going to go back all the way to the 1820s and look at how the 1820s can teach us about how to invest in the 2020s as well. So the historical theme, much more detailed than we can cover in a few minutes here.
Wow, that's great. So history may rhyme is what you're suggesting, I think.
Correct.
All right. As I just alluded to, we do have our annual conference coming up in September. All of our experts will be presenting, and Mike gives great talks. Also, Mike, you're going to do an Options 101 tutorial at the symposium too?
Yeah, I'll be kicking off with just basics of option trading. So anybody who has any questions about that, I'd really hope to see them there.
Yeah, that'll be a great session. It's just good to learn, obviously, but then also just to make sure that you brush up, if you will, on that kind of stuff. We also have another well-known guru, Dave Ramsey, is going to be at our Total Wealth Symposium. You've heard him on the radio and seen him on TV, so you might as well meet him in person as well. Get some ideas, especially if you're worried about this economic environment. Our conferences are always really, really well done. And if you've never been to Amelia Island or you haven't been there in a while, it's an amazing place. If you attend and don't agree, come find me and I'll buy you a beverage. And if you'd like to learn more, visit totalwealthsymposium.com. Also, if you guys want to learn more about Mike's services, check out banyonhill.com. We have a phone number on our Contact Us page and a Chat Now service as well. His ideas, as we've discussed, can turbocharge your returns. Thank you all for joining us on this Saturday Market Insights. We'll have a brand new edition of Market Insights next week, so be sure to tune in for that. Mike, thanks again.
Thank you.
On behalf of Mike, Jeff Yasteen, Ian King, Ted Bauman, and all of us at Sovereign Investor Daily, thanks for watching.